Hello, everyone. Welcome to Spirit Sister Stories, a safe place where women can come together to share their inspirational stories of growth and transformation. I am your host, Tony Short. We trust the stories of our sisters will move you to rewrite your own. Today, we have a very special lady in my life. Her name is Ljuba Castot. She is a creator, a dancer, a choreographer, an artist of all types. We met through a pretty unusual situation, and most people would think that we should not be friends. We were both in a relationship with the same man at the same time over a course of a couple of years, and we did not know this. It came to light later in our time together, and it was in that moment that we chose to speak the truth to each other, which was the most incredible healing experience that I've ever had the honor to have with another woman, in a sense of something that could have gone so differently. The moment that we found out, we spoke the truth, and we spent time going back and forth, learning about what each other knew and filling in the gaps. And our life could have gone in a very different direction, but we chose to show up for each other and for ourselves. And we've since collaborated on a bunch of projects, and I consider her one of my most beautiful spirit sisters. And this story, also recorded during the camp experience in the summer of 2020, is a very frank, a very real and raw breakdown of what we went through and how it felt, and how we were able to provide a sense of trust and love for each other that helped us move through this experience. There were so many ways our relationship could have gone, and this is an incredible story of two women that chose friendship over men. I'm so grateful to call her a friend, a collaborator, a co-creator, a fellow spirit sister. I am so excited to share this story and to introduce this incredible woman in my life. I was confronted by some real truths in my life at one point, of which I would never have been able to move forward from or heal from or blossom after if it wasn't for the truth of this incredible lady. The way she spoke the truth in this situation to me, with no pomp and circumstance, no frills. It was direct to the truth, and from that we were both able to move through a really delicate and crazy situation. And I'm very excited tonight to bring you this incredible human, this beautiful woman, this creator, this dancer, this choreographer, this artistic director, this talent manager. She has so many sort of feathers in her cap as she continues to bloom and express and create and change people's lives. And I cannot wait to bring this conversation tonight. Ljuba, I would love you to share a little bit about your story. Tell us who you are and how you came to this moment. And then we're going to get into some real talk about the power of two women choosing themselves and friendship with another woman over men. Thank you for being here.
Hey, Tony. Thank you so much for that introduction. I was just taking it in for a moment. Wow. Whew. So, yeah, I'm so honored to be here, first of all. I reside in what's known as Brooklyn, originally the land of the Lenape tribe. And just so grateful to be here with you right now, sharing the story. Honestly, like, unbelievable. I don't think I've ever really had a moment to sit down and think about just how incredible our connection is and how we know each other. I'm so stoked to dive into it. My name is Ljuba. I'm a mover. I'm a movement artist, choreographer. I guide movement a lot in my life. And my love for movement has brought me to New York initially. I'm from Denmark, where I grew up in Copenhagen. I currently also kind of have discovered that I now like kind of function as a doula for other artists to bring forth their creative projects and dreams in the form of artist management. And that connection has come through sort of organically in my work in New York City as an artist and working with other artists. So currently that's one of the what did you say? One of the feathers in my, that was cute. I liked it. I'm gonna write it down. But it's true. Everything you say is true. So I'm currently in Brooklyn. I'm sitting here. I have this incredible mannequin next to me that was gifted to me by a friend, artist of mine, and a candle that was gifted to me by my boyfriend with Guadalupe. They say Guadalupe on it. I am a white woman and I have brown hair and I'm wearing a black and gray white shirt. Just if anyone's on that is not seeing, would like to just ground myself. So yeah, I'm super excited for this. What else can I share with you about myself? I think that pretty much covers it.
I think that's a great start, and I'm confident we're going to dig into more pieces. So for a little, yes, I love it. For a little bit of context, we were, I guess, for lack of a better words, both in a relationship with the same man who happened to be in, let's say, not in his full truth with those relationships with us at the same time, if we could say that. And I think
that's such a generous description of the situation.
Yes. And
yes.
I will never forget, I think I had seen, I think where my journey has gone is that the story of what happened is so less important than where we have come to. And whilst the night that you shared the truth about what you had happened to you and what happened to me, and we basically kind of cleared the air, if I can say that, was so transformational in so many ways. Because I think if in many parts of our lives, when the truth is hidden, we spend a lot of time and energy dancing around trying to understand things that are just a fucking waste of time, because with the truth we can clear it out and we can hit the nail on the head. And what in that moment, your courage, if it was that, and you're better to speak about that, to actually speak that truth to me so that I knew the full picture, and then unpack that with me so that we could realize that actually that whilst we had our own roles to play within that experience, no question, and I think I'm going to get to that later, there was absolutely a shifting moment for me, that it was so clear and truthful for you that I could look at it and actually be realizing that it wasn't something I needed to carry the burden of. I could really see the bigger picture. And I think, that comes with a lot of bravery as someone to be able to do that, and also a lot of respect on the other side, which is why when I now see you move through your life, I see how you take that courage and bravery into your work, into your role within the industry for other people. So thank you.
Amazing. So I think I was going back, we connected a little bit before this talk, and I was going back over how we actually initially got acquainted. And I think my first idea of you was not in the physical. My first idea of you was the idea that you were one of my friends, the person in question, him. You were his boss. And I was at your house that he was house sitting. And that's my first kind of picture of you. And I remember being at your house and thinking, oh, cool. What a cool boss. Like, they must have a great working relationship. There's pictures of you. When you're in someone's home, you feel them, right? So there's pictures of you. There's artifacts. There are, things that you've chosen to live with. You know what I'm saying? So I'm very sensitive and observant of those things, because it's part of like how I viscerally connect with reality. So I remember thinking, oh, cool, like this must be a super cool person.
Hmm.
And then when I first met you was at his class. So it was in a context of movement. That's the first time we met, I think, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's the first time I kind of remember us being in the same room together physically. And I still had a completely different idea of what your role was in his life. And I was like, wow, she's so cool. Like she's she's out here. She is, she is dancing, she's crumping, like this is great. And then to slowly unravel the full, because it's actually a misrepresentation of who you were even at that time. The me having this picture being communicated about you through someone else, and then relating to that, and then slowly kind of figuring out, I mean, it's not really a slowly, it's having a inkling in your soul that, okay, something is a little different than what is being told to me. But then there was like a distinct moment where, I mean, I'm not going to get into details because it's so long. It will be a whole book. Yes. But there was another person that kind of set everything straight, set the record straight. But I just remember your energy, and I remember your openness, and I remember, like, before I knew the full context and the truth, just remembering, like, you were, you had like a very generous spirit. And I thought that was cool. And then when I learned the full context, I was like, oh my God, like, I mean, it just seemed so like, there's no other way of relating to you than in the same realness, because I kind of have to share with you what who I am.
Yes.
And what, because I know that we've both been doing a journey with the same person. That's not like, and we've both been misled, but we've both been on the same journey, or an adjacent journey, or whatever you call it, at the same time with this person. And it just felt like as soon as I had the opportunity, I was like, we just have to unravel this together. It wasn't me coming to you and telling you everything that I knew. It was a mutual.
Very much.
We were both like giving each other. So what I think the distinct, you started taking my class. We met by chance at Union Square Park, and I told you that I taught a class at Perry Dance, and you were like, I'm gonna come. And I was like, come. Come through.
To add to the energy of that, actually, I had thought about you that afternoon and said, I think I'm going to take her class. And then you walked past me a few hours later. So I was like, I'm obviously going to this class.
Sounds like Tony. And I was like, cool, come through. And I was a little, because at that point I was done with him. So I knew that you were his boss. And I was like, it might be a little weird, but she wants to take my class. Like, it's like, there was a little like, okay, this is new. I mean, this is different, fine. She'll come take my class. It'll be fine. Like, there's no, I don't have an issue. And I remember you taking my class for a few weeks before we had before we finally had a face-to-face of like, wait, so what's really going on here? And in that moment, it was just about like, I think it was just about picking up, like, you asked me a distinct question. You asked me to pass on his mail. And I was like, I can't do that because I'm not connected to this person anymore. And then we started just unraveling. And it just kept going on for hours after the class. It was late. We were at Union Square. And it was just like, we just have to keep doing this because we're both, at least let me speak for myself. Like, I was like, I'm super damaged by what has happened to me, how I've been led in this direction that doesn't, that's not in alignment with my purpose. And that wasn't what I always just wanted the truth. I would have been able to handle the truth if it had been given to me. And you were the only pathway to the truth.
Yes, likewise.
I wanted the truth. I didn't want him. I just wanted to know what the hell. Mm-hmm. And you had it, and you were offering it. And I think vice versa. Like, I was ready to tell you exactly like what I knew.
So many amazing points in there. I think you mentioned the hunches and the intuition. And I think there's where I see this sort of segueing is, I think the power that came from us speaking, it's not in sort of traditional society normal that two women would share that level of truth about a situation like this and then actually come through and become creative partners, friends, sisters, supporters, hiring, working together. And I think that for me is a testament of your integrity and a testament of your spirit, and something that I know is part of sort of your bigger purpose. At the same time, I think the overlapping of the retuning, our tuning to our instincts, our intuition, the feminine energy, if we could say that, that both of us, again speaking for myself, but what we've shared, had become disconnected to or weren't as in tune with. And I think that's an angle we can go, and then I think you can overlay on the top of it then, to be frank, the elements of narcissism and gaslighting, and which actually, that most women, let alone most humans that sort of maybe come to it after the fact, actually don't realize the depth of the steps and the things. It took me quite a lot of time to unpack a lot of things, to realize that actually a lot of that stuff was done to maybe push me from my intuition and my purpose, of which then I would question myself, and you sort of got this loop going in until you're out of it. So I think, taking a breath into those three angles, feel free where you want to pick up. But I think this element of feminine energy and connection, that actually is what brought us to this moment, and then actually put us back into purpose in a bigger and better way than, and possibly would not have come without this moment. I certainly know for me.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%.
Yes.
Let me just go with my complete intuition here, because that the intuition is what was under attack for us both.
Yes.
I was in a relationship with this person, I'm sure you can mirror this, that was highly based on breaking down everything that I felt intuitively via gaslighting, and via a person who was narcissistic and using spirituality in their narcissism. Mm-hmm. So over the course of my relationship with him, it made me question my intuition and my whole being, actually, as a person on this earth. And I think what the connection between me and you was affirming that, bitch, your intuition was on point, like, the whole time, in a way that's not even like, hey, I was right. It's not that little, it's bigger. It's like you actually are sharing this with another person. Like, you both have this experience intuitively, and someone felt like it was important to shut it down so they could take advantage of you in a way that's way smaller than I think I had envisioned for this relationship, right? And I think that for me, what I was coming to you, my communication with you was based on dismantling how my intuition had been disrupted, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
And that was important. And I just knew that I needed to communicate with you in order to heal, because, again, my purpose was not to be with him. My purpose was to be, like, to know the truth and to live my truth, and to be, like, to have truth. And I found it in you after the fact.
Yeah.
And the healing process was that of rebuilding my faith in my intuition.
Amen.
And also, I mean, oh my God, there's so much unpacking, honestly. But I mean, we're really talking about energies that would deny, that would we're talking about spending hours, for me at least, spending hours of the day spinning in circles, questioning myself and thinking that maybe I'm selfish and even wanting to know the truth from him. Mm-hmm. And then me and you, our connection so beautifully just revealing that this is the real truth. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. And that's, to me, this exchange healed me quick.
Yes.
Too. I was like, oh, yeah. Wow. Like, I was at a place too where I was very much on a journey of, like, I have to understand. I have to understand my intuition. I have to understand how I'm open to if I'm wrong. I'm super open. If I'm wrong, like, let me know. I'm not here to be right and be wrong. You know what I'm saying? I'm not here to be to be the winner of some weird battle. Like, no, no, no. I'm here to understand what actually happened, and then I just need the facts, bro. Like, that's it.
Yeah. What's fascinating for me is like I'm not sure I even knew really what intuition was,
Mm,
and and my ability to access it. Although I was having all of these moments, I think it was very clouded from my journey around being able or unable to accept the truth that of what I wasn't getting. You know, I think there was a lot of codependency flowing through and a lot of things. So, you know, whilst the intuition was literally like pinging left, right, and center, I was so caught in my own sort of, you know, kind of journey to clear out some of that stuff that I couldn't even really even see it. It's interesting as I reflect back, the one time we went to your, I went to your dance class, I remember you both came in and matching coffee cups. And I will always remember that. I actually wrote a, you know, a little short story about it, in a sense that for me, it was, whether I didn't know what that meant at the time, but from something inside of me said that, you know, if you, that means you've come together, that means you bought it at the same place. I didn't even think he drank coffee, so it was fascinating to me on another level. So there were so many little things, but I didn't know even what to do with that at the moment, or I'm not even sure, you know, as I play it back sometimes, that those things didn't become clearer because I didn't even know what intuition was.
wow. I
And
love that you say that, because it's funny. I remember the coffee cups too. So why do I remember the coffee cups if it's just a gesture of normality?
yes,
Because for me, anything that would link me with him would also have significance.
yes,
So for me, asking him, hey, do you want some coffee from the bodega? And him saying, I remember always like, yeah, sure. Like as if he really thought, what is this? Like, everyone in the game knew the significance of this coffee. Like,
yeah,
I knew it, he knew it, you knew it. Because he knew that you were going to be at the class and
yeah,
that you were going to see the cup. Like, this is a high, like, we're on a whole different, like, it's really that, like, it's not casual. There's nothing casual about any of these gestures.
yeah,
And that's, we've never shared that, but I've never shared that with you. But I remember the coffee cups. I remember what they look like. It's not the New York cup. It's the brown one with the coffee cup that swirls. Yeah, with the white top.
yeah, yeah.
It, yes, significant for me too, to have like a, oh, I'm gonna get us coffee thing. So weird, honestly. Why? Like, why?
The breadcrumbs that were being dropped
Yeah.
throughout. Um, so let's switch gears a little bit into
Yep.
gaslighting, narcissist, spiritual bypassing, spiritual bashing, all very interesting subjects that not many people, not saying they don't talk about, but I think in sort of the real truth of giving examples and things like that. And I
Yeah.
want to spend a little bit of time sharing, knowing that there will be campers that will sort of see this after, as well as the gang that's with us today, of what things can you look back? Hi, ladies. Um, can you look back and see how, maybe even how you've overlapped some of those learnings into new relationships, new, you know, work and play, and what things kind of came from them, you know, like the level of discerning, the level of, you know, even the radar that goes off now when you can feel that coming in. How would you sort of play what that shifted you to learn?
Okay. um, so, I mean, there's a lot of activities that go with this process, because there's a third woman involved that also is part of dismantling this, right? Honestly. I think for me personally, I mean, I did a lot of very basic things. And like when I say basic, I mean basic. Like, I mean YouTube videos about narcissism. I mean, I mean reading about gaslighting, like learning and incorporating the data that has now formed, because these are relatively new concepts in terms of in our consciousness, how we describe them. And there's like theory behind it. There are case studies. Like, so I went into like a wormhole of like, what is it? Because this is definitely it. But what is it? Let me learn what, people have said and what has gone before this incident. I'm sure it's not unique. So that was a big part of the dismantling for me, was like, it sounds so basic, but it's YouTube videos, books, like conversations with other people, like, and then for myself understanding that, okay, this is a pattern, because this person is not singularly the first time that I'm faced with gaslighting, right? So how else is it manifesting in my life? And what is it that me as a person who is empathic to my surroundings as an artist, how am I attracting this without having the tools to put up the boundaries that are necessary? I think for me, it was a practical process, but I definitely, a big part of my process was our relationship, Tony, like me and you, because we were, at this point, we were very much in touch, talking daily for hours on WhatsApp and voice notes and stuff, about what had happened to us, and like talking. So that was a big, huge part of the process of understanding how I had attracted it in the first place, what my role in it had been, and how to move forward. And for me, I mean, moving forward into more healthy interactions with people was kind of a whirlwind a little bit. I mean, to be really honest, it was, I was looking out for me for a good year. Like, I was like, I have to just stay detached. I have to practice more detached relationships with people that are healthy and with people that are good to me as friends. And I'm like, that was my practice in relationships.
Yeah.
It had a lot of, ironically, because I know when I say detachment is a little bit of a trigger word, because our gaslighter used the word detachment a lot to justify his own behavior.
Right.
But I took the concept and I was like, thank you, universe.
Yeah.
I have to practice that, but not in the same way, just in a way of not getting intertwined into this duality concept, but to be more, to be a little, for lack of a better word, free, and to just interact with people that are here for my friendship and here for my, here for me. Yeah. So that was a big part of it. But I'm not gonna lie, like, if you look at my search engine on YouTube, it's dismantling narcissism all day and gaslighting, which I'm super grateful for. There's a lot of really good resources out there.
Yes, absolutely. And actually, fascinating in the sense that I don't even think, again, I knew what that was. It took a lot of sort of learnings and new stuff coming to me from what you had researched. I feel like there was, to some degree, you were maybe, I don't know, 3 or 6 months ahead of me, without, it's not a race, but there was sort of a shift that you'd had. Yeah. That really, you had processed a lot more than I had. And I think, at the crux of our, or processed sort of a different portion of it. I think, when we first had the sort of truth moment, for me, I was still very much in like, I wasn't chosen and he was going to the next one, and that I wasn't good enough because he chose her and not me. And then when I realized that, it was me plus many, it was actually so not about that, which, again, was my shit coming in, because, the fact that I took that, next step of his being about me and me not being good enough. Like, that was part of my shit. The codependency was part of my shit, not not accepting the truth, not seeing who people were, which I think came into, even discernment with my relationships going forward, my business relationships. I've always been a very much jumping straight into things, giving people money, getting engaged, not really having good boundaries, not really having good, contractual conversations, and then wondering sort of why I was getting left hung out or taken
Yeah.
advantage of. So it really, probably propelled me quite extremely to the other direction, of which then I have been able to sort of like tinker back as I've sort of put the pieces of myself back together and realized actually there were so many things that I was onto, I just didn't have a language for, or I just didn't know how to communicate. Or again, I think part of the spiritual battle, a lot of time for me, there was a lot of like, you're just a Pisces, you don't remember things. And that was really fascinating, because what actually I'm so grateful, again, thank you universe, was I went back and would study about myself. And that's really, I think, what has shifted my life path and purpose, really coming into flow around the energy muse work, and even this camp in itself, of being actually to tie back into like, who am I and why do I do these things and what makes me tick. And I wanted to fucking learn about everything, so I voraciously was learning everything to do with every type of spirituality and things like that, which really, has brought me to a place that I've now kind of settled into that within my own body. So
Yes.
fascinating.
I mean, I'm truly grateful that I've been able to see you go from that to here,
Yes.
where you're such a boss. I mean, you've always been a boss, but you're such a boss. I wanted to say something about, because what I'm hearing you say is actually, in the positive, like you had an immense generosity. Your codependency was also, I mean, for me, but there's also like the incline to be a partner. Like I was desiring to be a partner, and I was carving that out for me and him. And I think I see that in you a little bit of like, this is what a partnership looks like, but you're dealing with a person who is preying on your generosity and who's not interested in being a partner, but they know how to leverage your desire for their own gain, whatever that short-term gain is for them. I mean, I still think it's like a survival thing, but you know what I'm saying? It's just like, that's what I'm seeing. So there was also a little bit for me in the dismantling. There was also a little bit of praise for like, I was a damn good partner. Like, I didn't have at the time that I was with this person, I had nothing to offer monetarily. But I held it down. And I was here. And like, honestly, I really look at it from an outside perspective, like, I'm the shit. Like, and this person's trash. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then I saw what you did, and I realized the magnitude of the opportunities that you gave to this person, and that you really give to people. And I'm like, trash. Like, get him out. Like, it's not as, because I've seen like part of what I want to share with the community that's on here. Thank you guys for being here. Like, it's like, to have this conversation in front of you is really an honor. Yes. But Tony, the dance class that I teach is truly a community. So it's truly people that are coming on Friday nights. I mean, not right now, but late at night, Friday night, to Parry Dance by Union Square, and moving for various reasons. But, we're really doing a lot of self-work in that class, through movement. And Tony came in, and like, your generosity was like to the class. And, the class was, we were like, yes, we would love to accept, you got us, you went to the Hamptons and invited us all there, and we all came. And we had the most amazing time connecting, bonding, swimming, lighting fires on the beach, like, and that's like, we really blossomed, and everyone individually blossomed. Like, how you are, like, you sow seeds and things grow from that. Like, it's the option to just take from you was his choice. That's other people's choice to do that, So I'm wondering, like, how do you navigate your true spirit of that type of energy now?
Yeah, amazing question. And so interesting too, the journey of going to those classes. I mean, for the first, like, I would say the month to 6 weeks, I cried like a motherfucker all the way through every single one of them. You know, a combination of coming back to dance after 30 years or something, and knowing that I have always been a dancer, and it is something that I lost or didn't, you know, acknowledge, but seeing it come out, but then having these sort of this dialogue with my body of like, why won't you do what I know it needs it to do? And then on the same level, knowing there was something between you and I that I didn't know what it was, but, and, you know, and then at the same time feeling so accepted and embraced in this group of people. You know, I'll never be able to, you know, again, I never be able to thank you for what that did in terms of transforming how that could have been, because you could have been different. You could have, you know, been very different. And I think that's, these are the magic
Yeah.
moments of what women can do. And I think, you know, Taurus, they talk about being a container. And I think whilst I was throwing the seeds around, but you actually created a container that I could come and heal through my body, release the trauma. And this is something you're doing in the Wednesdays body story classes, but we hold trauma. And I think, you know, this was a collective of 40 something years of trauma and, you know, sadness around not being myself, maybe again that loss being for myself, let alone he was just a catalyst to bring me to this point. And you held space for that. You held space while I couldn't work out the fucking routines and went backwards instead of forwards. I mean, every level of crazy thing that I did. But it was, you know, and to turn up every week, there were times when I was just like, Tony, you don't have to do any of this, you do not have to go. And I was like, there was no stopping me. Every single week I would cry and be like, Tony, you can stay home, you do not have to do this. But
Yeah.
I needed to be there. And so thank you for sharing that back. And I think, you know, there's seeds can only grow in the right nurturing and the right nourishment. And, you know, I think this, if not many messages that people will get from this conversation today, but the ability for women to nourish and nurture each other whilst they're with themselves in who they are is so fucking powerful that, you know, it's, there will never be words to express what that journey was. So I think, to possibly answer your question, being nourished and being supported by other women to find myself and to step into who I truly am was part of the journey of actually staying in the spirit of who I am. I have always been generous. I have always been, you know, someone that wants to build something so people can play. I want to be involved in everything. And, you know, and that's had its journey too, of knowing that like there are limits. You know, sort of not everybody wants to do it like I do. I would literally be in at the house at the Hamptons with everybody every weekend all the time. But, you know, like, you know, so I found my own boundaries and my own limits. But that container and that ability to express myself and that ability to show up and be me is what transitioned me to really being me.
Mm, wow.
Yeah. I mean, crazy shit. Crazy shit. So, okay, let's throw it out there, maybe just shift the moment.
Yeah.
Anyone have any
Thank you for
questions?
sharing that. Like, I'm so, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
here we
big.
are.
Yeah, this is no accident. This is no joke. You know, working also with you on creative projects is something that I always felt from the beginning that we will go to do great things. I didn't really know anything other than that. And now realizing I've only ever been following my intuition from the very
Yes.
prior to you to even end up in this space. This is all something that, you know, I was manifesting 5 years ago, but you know, it didn't make sense. So it's all now coming to fruition.
And you know what's really funny about the concept? I had to write it down because everything is going about the concept. Like, so you're thanking me for holding space for you, and I'm gonna be really like, we haven't talked, or like we've talked, you know, we've talked consistently during the quarantine, but this is where you're actually holding me.
Hmm.
Like, you're holding space for me in such a big way, because quarantine for me has been extremely challenging for me as a mover, for me as a person, for me as a curator of movement and a storyteller, and going through my own things and my own dismantling, and for you to even set this up, and for you to just be so unconditional about the space that you're holding. Like, I just feel so safe. I feel so safe in having this conversation with you. I feel so safe in leading body stories.
Yes.
On Wednesdays at 10. But like, I feel so safe, and I've needed this. I told my partner this as well. I was like, I didn't know I just needed her to set that up for me, that structure, so that I can move my energy right now. And this is the reciprocity.
Yes.
That is truly amazing. And I'm, without having any, like conclusions about what I'm saying, this is just how I feel right now. And I realized that you're giving that back to me, I guess, in a way. Like, that's what I'm experiencing. At least that's how I'm hearing it. And I'm very, like, this is like life changing. This is what it needs to be. And I'm also, how you're centering this conversation around feminine energy, I'm grateful for, because I'm reminded, like, yes, this is, I guess, not normal. We should be on like a TV show throwing chairs at each other or something. But I guess the choices in each moment that we've had together, the choices to continue a path of sharing, has taught me that it's really important to do that. And I just have to, there's certain instances right now in my life that I know I have to apply this energy to unconditionally. And I'm just grateful for that, because in the end, it creates the abundance. It does create, it's who I am. And why do I have to play into the other narrative? Why do I have to play into his narrative?
Yes.
Of taking and just hoarding and like deceiving? I don't know. That's not the life I want to live.
Yes.
I want to live the life where everything that I put out grows, and I see it grow everywhere.
Yes. Which you've already been doing your whole life.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The network of dancers, I'm going to use the word underneath you, even though that's not technically the term, but the group that perform with you have absolutely, shifted in many levels. And I've seen that across it. And, from confidence as well as physicality and skill level and even just presence and performance ability. And that's a testament to you and the work that you do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And they, like, everyone in our community, because it's our community, it's your community too. Everyone in our community are these whole multi-dimensional people, and moving is how we come together and how we communicate in a language that's not what we're doing right now, and it really does shift our consciousness.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And that's and to be really catty and honest with you, when we met in that Crump class, Crump has the energy to do that same thing, but the leader was not equipped to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's what we were both looking for, right? Like, that's what I was looking for. I was looking for a shift.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I came to the class because I was like, we're going to shift together. No, you're just going to get gaslit and get in an entanglement, just to use a very time appropriate term. Like, that's not what we were looking for. That's not what I was looking for. I was looking for freedom. I was looking for me.
Yes. Yeah. Such a beautiful journey.
Right.
I could talk all night, and I want to respect everyone's time. If anyone has any questions and would like to jump in.
Oh my God, let's open it up. Yes.
Please. I would love that. Don't be afraid.
Yeah.
Don't even turn your videos on. All right.
Write them in the chat. Hey!
Hey!
Outside and everything.
Look at that. All right. There's another Taurus right there giving us the...
Yes.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure. I love you so much. And your presence in my life literally changed its direction, and I'll never be able to say thank you enough. And the power of dance and what you bring. I can't wait to create more things with you in the future. I know that we're going to, bring what Body Stories is going to do on Wednesday to other people. I think, seeing this with children and other people, we have great work to do, and I'm very excited to do it with you. Thank you, ladies, for joining us.
Thank
Have
you
a
so
beautiful
much. Thank you,
that.
Tony. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. Our purpose for Spirit Sister Stories is to create a safe space where every woman's voice is welcome. We invite you to share your story and be heard. And remember, keep shining your light. We'll see you soon.